Have you ever wondered about the untold stories behind the golden age of cinema's brightest icons? From Rhonda Fleming's Technicolor brilliance and philanthropic legacy to Paul Muni's transformative performances that redefine method acting. Here are 25 actors from golden age you didn't know passed away. 1. Clara Bow. In the Roaring Twenties, Clara Bow was a name that lit up the silver screen. They called her the It Girl, and she embodied everything the age stood for: freedom, rebellion, and allure. Her expressive face and electric energy turned silent films into spellbinding tales. She dazzled audiences in It and soared even higher with her role in Wings, the first film ever to claim an Academy Award for Best Picture. But the bright lights of fame can cast long shadows. When talkies arrived, her distinctive Brooklyn accent became a cruel barrier. Whispers of scandal and relentless media invasions tore at her spirit. By the early 30s, she disappeared from the limelight, retreating to a life of solitude. Clara's final chapter came quietly in 1965, her once vibrant legacy nearly forgotten. Or was it? Could her story be more than what the world remembers? 2. Myrna Loy. Elegance personified, Myrna Loy was a name synonymous with charm and intelligence. Her portrayal of Nora Charles in the Thin Man series was effortless sophistication. Audiences adored her blend of sharp wit and tenderness, a combination few could master. Early in her career, she played sultry vamps in silent films, before transitioning into roles that showcased her remarkable range. But her impact stretched far beyond the screen. An advocate for civil rights and gender equality, Myrna's off-screen efforts rivaled her cinematic achievements. Despite over 100 films to her name, an Oscar nomination never came her way. When she passed in 1993, Hollywood lost one of its brightest stars. Yet her legacy still glimmers. Could it be that her true influence lies not in accolades, but in the countless lives she touched? 3. Van Johnson. A comfort to wartime audiences, Van Johnson's face brought a sense of hope and optimism to screens when the world desperately needed it. Films like A Guy Named Joe and Brigadoon showcased his versatility, while The Caine Mutiny revealed unexpected depth. His easy charm made him a household name, a beacon of light in Hollywood's golden age. As time passed, Van shifted from cinema to the stage and small screen, his boyish persona gradually fading. He lived a long life, leaving us in 2008 at 92. Yet his passing went almost unnoticed. Why did the world forget so easily? Perhaps his lasting legacy isn't in fame, but in the quiet joy his performances brought to millions. 4. Norma Shearer. One of MGM's most luminous stars, Norma Shearer wasn't just a beauty, she was a trailblazer. In The Divorcee and A Free Soul, she played women who defied conventions, challenging societal norms with every line and every glance. Her grace and talent earned her an Academy Award, and her role as Marie Antoinette remains iconic. Behind the scenes, Norma wielded a power rare for women in her time. She negotiated her own terms, choosing projects that elevated her career and her voice. In the 1940s, she stepped away from Hollywood's glare, retreating into a quieter existence. When she passed away in 1983, her name began to fade from memory, yet her films endure. Could her silence speak louder than her words? 5. Jennifer Jones. A star cloaked in mystery, Jennifer Jones delivered an Oscar-winning performance in The Song of Bernadette that showcased a depth few could rival. Whether in The Fiery Jewel in the Sun or The Tender Love is a Many-Splendid Thing, she drew audiences into her world, her every movement a revelation. Her life off-screen was as complex as her roles. A marriage to producer David O. Selznick placed Jennifer under Hollywood's relentless gaze, yet she always kept a part of herself hidden. By the 1960s, she chose a quieter path, devoting herself to philanthropy. She passed away in 2009, her final years marked by peace. Do we truly remember her, or has the golden glow of her talent dimmed in the passing years? Perhaps her legacy whispers through the films that still captivate those who seek them. 6. Paul Muni. Born in a distant land, now known as Ukraine, in the year 1895, Paul Muni carried a name that seemed destined for obscurity: Friedrich Mechelem Meyer Wiesenfreund. As a child, he journeyed with his family to America, where the raw streets of Chicago became his new home. From those streets, a fire was kindled, one that would drive him to the world of Yiddish theatre, a domain that demanded unflinching authenticity. This early training carved a path for his acting, defined by precision and the total surrender of self. His rise to fame came in the form of a chilling performance in Scarface in 1932. The man became the gangster, a power-hungry fiend etched forever in cinematic history. Yet Muni was no ordinary star. He shunned the superficial allure of celebrity, instead vanishing into the skin of every character he portrayed. The world watched in awe as he brought to life the noble struggle of Louis Pasteur in The Story of Louis Pasteur, earning him an Academy Award in 1936. But as the years passed, Paul retreated from the spotlight. By the 1950s, he had turned his back on Hollywood. When he succumbed to heart failure in 1967, the world barely paused to remember. Forgotten by many, his name lingers in whispers among film historians, a relic of a bygone era. 7. Dana Andrews. Carved from shadows and light, Dana Andrews was a leading figure in the brooding cinema of the 1940s. His presence in Laura as the hard-edged detective epitomized the enigma of film noir. His eyes spoke of mysteries untold. His voice carried the weight of secrets. He reached further into the depths of human struggle in the best years of our lives, portraying a veteran grappling with life after war. The anguish in his performance resonated deeply with a nation trying to mend itself. But beneath the surface, Andrews carried his own battle, a relentless struggle with alcoholism that dimmed his star in the following decade. Though he found a second wind in television and stage roles, his influence quietly faded. When he passed in 1992, the echoes of his career lingered faintly. Today, his name rests in the archives of classic Hollywood, an enduring yet muted symbol of resilience. 8. Eleanor Parker. A chameleon of the silver screen, Eleanor Parker brought unparalleled depth to her roles. She was a woman of transformations, inhabiting lives so unlike her own. In Caged in 1950, she embodied the despair of a young inmate, earning an Academy Award nomination. Her dramatic prowess was undeniable, yet her career spanned genres effortlessly. For many, she remains immortalized as the poised and elegant Baroness in The Sound of Music. Yet despite her critical acclaim, Parker never sought the limelight. She chose roles that challenged her, often stepping away from the mainstream in pursuit of art. Her career dwindled quietly in the 1980s, and when she passed in 2013 at the age of 91, her legacy was left for devoted cinephiles to uncover. 9. Lizabeth Scott. Emerging from the coal-streaked heart of Pennsylvania, Lizabeth Scott, born Emma Matzo, became the smoky allure of film noir's perfect muse. Her sultry voice and piercing gaze captivated audiences in the 1940s and 50s. Films like Dead Reckoning and Too Late for Tears cast her as the quintessential femme fatale, a woman as dangerous as she was irresistible. But Scott was no docile starlet. She resisted Hollywood's rigid studio system and the gossip machine that threatened to eclipse her talent. This defiance came at a cost. As film noir faded, so too did her opportunities. By the late 1950s, she had receded into obscurity, surfacing only occasionally for television appearances. When she passed in 2015 at 92, the world barely noticed. Yet for those who cherish the golden age of cinema, her shadowy performances remain a haunting reminder of a time when danger danced hand in hand with allure. 10. Sylvia Sidney. A canvas of emotion, Sylvia Sidney's face revealed vast oceans of sorrow and strength. In the 1930s and 40s, she brought life to stories of struggle and survival. With roles in Fury and You Only Live Once, she embodied the resilience of those forgotten by society. Her talents did not wane with time. Decades later, she re-emerged as a character actress, bringing charm and wit to modern classics like Beetlejuice in 1988. Yet even as she carved her mark across generations, her death in 1999 slipped past public notice. 11. Dorothy Lamour. The goddess of escapism, Dorothy Lamour was the radiant centerpiece of the Road To series alongside Bing Crosby and Bob Hope. Her exotic charm and velvety singing voice transported audiences to distant lands. Beyond the laughter of those films, she showed dramatic depth in works like The Hurricane in 1937. But the tides of Hollywood changed. The light-hearted fare that defined her peak faded, and so too did Lamour's presence in film. She turned to the stage and occasional television roles, remaining beloved by fans but increasingly overlooked by the industry. When she passed in 1996, the news was but a murmur, yet her contributions to cinema remain undeniable, a beacon of glamour and joy from an era long past. 12. Teresa Wright. She was a luminous figure of the silver screen, known not for glittering extravagance, but for the quiet storm of authenticity she brought to every role. Teresa Wright, a name once synonymous with cinematic sincerity, captured hearts with her performances in films like Mrs. Miniver, a portrayal that earned her an Academy Award, and the pride of the Yankees. Yet it was in Alfred Hitchcock's brooding masterpiece, Shadow of a Doubt, where her talent revealed an emotional depth unmatched by many of her peers. Unlike the gilded starlets who chased glamour, Wright sought purpose, portraying characters imbued with warmth and strength. But as time ebbed, her light began to dim. The theatres grew quieter. Her work shifted to the understated worlds of television and stage, where she continued her craft far from the glittering chaos of Hollywood. When she passed away in 2005 at the age of 86, the world barely noticed. Why do we so easily forget the genuine souls who shaped our cinematic dreams? Teresa Wright's legacy lives on in the emotional resonance she left behind, even if her name no longer graces the lips of the masses. 13. Rhonda Fleming. A flash of red hair and Technicolor brilliance. That was Rhonda Fleming, the queen of Technicolor. Her face, framed in vibrant hues, became a canvas for classic Hollywood's brightest dreams. She enchanted in Alfred Hitchcock's Spellbound and sizzled in Out of the Past, a noir drenched in shadows and intrigue. She danced through musicals, galloped through westerns, and proved her versatility time and again in works like A Connecticut Yankee, in King Arthur's Court, and Gunfight at the OK Corral. Off-screen, she was as luminous as her Technicolor persona, dedicating her later years to philanthropy and establishing cancer treatment facilities. In 2020, she departed this world at 97, quietly closing a chapter on an era where colour and charisma reigned supreme. Do we truly appreciate the stars who bring light to our lives? Rhonda's radiance may no longer burn as brightly, but her work remains a vivid thread in the fabric of Hollywood's golden years. 14. Farley Granger. With his boyish good looks and haunting vulnerability, Farley Granger became Alfred Hitchcock's muse in two chilling tales. In Rope, his performance as a conflicted accomplice to homicide chilled audiences. Then came Strangers on a Train, a psychological dance of tension and terror that cemented his reputation as a master of subtle emotion. Granger's charm and naturalistic style made him a sought-after leading man of the 1950s, yet he never soared to the stratospheric heights of superstardom. As the Hollywood machine evolved, so did his career. He turned to theatre and television, remaining steady but subdued. In 2011, at the age of 85, his passing scarcely made a whisper in the media. How many such talents fade into quiet obscurity while their work lingers, unseen yet unforgettable? Granger's contributions to cinema are etched in the suspenseful shadows of Hitchcock's genius, waiting for rediscovery. 15. Joan Leslie. A name that once brought smiles to millions, Joan Leslie was a star whose light shone brightest in the 1940s. Barely more than a child, she graced the screen in Yankee Doodle Dandy, standing beside James Cagney with a charm and grace that belied her youth. Her roles during World War II offered audiences a sense of hope and resilience. Films like Sergeant York and The Sky's the Limit cemented her as a beacon of positivity during dark times. But as Hollywood moved forward, her presence began to wane. She stepped away from the spotlight to focus on her family, leaving behind a career filled with unassuming grace. In 2015, she passed at 90 years old, her death marking the end of a golden chapter. Do we honour the performers who brought joy to our parents, our grandparents? Leslie's warmth still lingers, though her name may not. 16. Richard Todd. A soldier on and off the screen, Richard Todd was more than an actor. He was a hero. Before the cameras rolled, he fought in World War II, landing on the beaches of Normandy. That bravery translated into roles steeped in grit and authenticity. In The Dam Busters and The Longest Day, Todd brought military heroics to vivid life. Even in Hitchcock's Stage Fright, his stoic charm and quiet intensity commanded attention. But as the 60s dawned, the roles grew smaller. Hollywood's hunger for new faces and fleeting trends eclipsed his steady brilliance. In 2009, at the age of 90, Todd passed away, his departure a hushed event in a world now obsessed with noise. 17. Margaret Sullavan. Once glittering like a gem in the golden halls of 1930s Hollywood, Margaret Sullavan's captivating performances, filled with raw emotion, earned her a place among cinema's greatest talents. Audiences fell in love with her in The Shop Around the Corner, where she played opposite James Stewart, creating a romantic legacy still cherished today. But behind the glamour lay a fragile soul. Sullavan's ability to balance vulnerability and strength on screen mirrored struggles in her personal life. Her turbulent marriage to director William Wyler and battles with mental health cast long shadows over her rising career. In 1960, at just 50 years old, the world lost her to an overdose. Was it an accident or a cry for help? The truth remains shrouded, leaving fans to mourn a star who burned so brightly yet faded far too soon. Her legacy is a haunting reminder of how brilliance and tragedy often walk hand in hand. 18. Dorothy McGuire. Not a name that sparkled in neon lights, Dorothy McGuire's performances left an indelible mark. She became known for her understated elegance, portraying complex characters with authenticity. In Gentleman's Agreement, she tackled the weighty issue of anti-Semitism, her role striking a chord with audiences. Films like A Tree Grows in Brooklyn and The Spiral Staircase cemented her as a leading lady who needed no theatrics to command attention. Her legacy, however, was often overshadowed by flashier stars of her time. Though she aged gracefully into roles that reflected her wisdom, Hollywood's fickle nature left her brilliance dimmed in memory. In 2001, she passed away at 85, her death a quiet ending to a life filled with stories untold. McGuire's body of work still whispers to those who seek it, a gentle reminder of her immense talent. 19. Jane Greer. A name that may not ring bells for everyone, Jane Greer's presence is etched into the heart of film noir. In Out of the Past, she became the very essence of the femme fatale, dangerous, alluring, and unforgettable. Her enigmatic beauty and icy charm brought Kathy Moffat to life, opposite the rugged Robert Mitchum. This one role alone immortalized her, capturing the essence of an era steeped in shadows and intrigue. Though she starred in other notable films like The Big Steal and They Won't Believe Me, Greer's career waned in the 1950s. She later resurfaced in supporting roles, even appearing in a modern remake of her noir classic. In 2001, cancer claimed her life at 76. Her death was quiet, almost unnoticed by the industry she had once enchanted. Yet her portrayal of the femme fatale remains iconic, a spectral presence haunting the annals of classic cinema. 20. Frances Lederer. Born in 1899, Frances Lederer brought European sophistication to Hollywood, where his rich voice and suave demeanour made him a favourite romantic lead. From his breakout role in The Gay Deception to the daring confessions of a Nazi spy, Lederer showed he was more than a pretty face. His transition from light-hearted romances to weighty dramas revealed a depth that captivated audiences of the 1930s and 1940s. As time passed, Lederer gracefully stepped back from the spotlight, dedicating himself to teaching and civic work. He became a guardian of history in his Los Angeles community, preserving the very stories that shaped the golden age of cinema. Lederer lived to see a full century, passing away in 2000. His death, like his later years, went largely unnoticed. a quiet farewell to a man who had once been a leading figure on the silver screen. 21. Louis Jourdan. In the shimmering glow of Hollywood's golden age, Louis Jourdan emerged as a figure of unparalleled elegance. With his finely chiseled features and a voice as smooth as silk, he became a cinematic icon, embodying the refined charm of Europe in films that enchanted audiences worldwide. He is best remembered for his spellbinding role in Gigi 1958, a performance where every glance, every movement, carried the weight of sophistication and allure. Born amidst the sun-dappled streets of Marseille, Jourdan's journey to stardom began in French cinema, but the onset of World War II disrupted his early aspirations. Forced to flee the turmoil, he sought refuge in Hollywood, where his unique blend of class and mystery captivated casting directors. With roles in Letter from an Unknown Woman, 1948, and The Swan, 1956, he solidified his status as a beacon of continental poise. Yet Jourdan was more than just a leading man. He was a bridge between two worlds, uniting the grandeur of European film with the glittering allure of American cinema. In his twilight years, Jourdan retreated from the limelight, his appearances becoming rare and deliberate. A memorable exception came in the form of the villainous Kamal Khan in Octopussy, 1983, a role that showcased his ability to weave menace into elegance. When he passed away in 2015 at the age of 93, the world lost not just an actor, but a symbol of an era. His legacy whispers through the annals of cinema, a reminder of a time when artistry was imbued with grace. 22. Anne Rutherford. With a smile that could light up even the darkest corners of the silver screen, Anne Rutherford was known and adored for her portrayal of Corinne O'Hara in Gone with the Wind 1939. She exuded an innocence that stood in stark contrast to the drama surrounding her. Though her role was small, it left an indelible mark, a testament to her ability to breathe life into the most fleeting moments. Her true rise to fame, however, came as Polly Benedict in the beloved Andy Hardy series. As the picture of wholesome charm, Rutherford became a beacon of hope in a time when audiences desperately sought escapism. Light comedies and musicals followed, each role reaffirming her status as Hollywood's sweetheart. Behind the laughter and music, she carried an authenticity that resonated deeply with fans. But fame is a fickle companion. As the years passed, she stepped back, content to live away from the relentless gaze of the public. Her death in 2012 at the age of 94 was a quiet affair, a poignant reminder of how even the brightest stars can fade into memory. Still, her legacy remains alive in every laugh, every tear she brought to the screen. 23. Ruth Chatterton. Her name may not echo loudly today, but Ruth Chatterton, in the early days of Hollywood's transition to sound, was synonymous with brilliance. Born in New York City in 1892, she embodied intelligence and elegance, traits that set her apart in an era dominated by glamorized archetypes. Her performances in Madame X, 1929, and Dodsworth, 1936, revealed an actress unafraid to explore the depths of human emotion. In Madame X, her portrayal of a woman consumed by sacrifice was both haunting and unforgettable. Critics and audiences alike were spellbound by her ability to convey vulnerability and strength in equal measure. Dodsworth showcased her mastery of complex characters, earning her an Academy Award nomination and cementing her place among the greats of her time. But the golden glow of Hollywood shifted, and the spotlight moved on. Rather than linger in its shadow, she turned her talents to writing, publishing novels that reflected her keen intellect. When she passed away in 1961, her death went largely unnoticed, her accomplishments obscured by the relentless march of time. Yet her work remained, a quiet testament to an actress who dared to defy conventions. 24. Evelyn Brent. Evelyn Brent, a name that evokes images of intrigue and mystery. Born Mary Elizabeth Riggs in 1895, her sharp features and piercing gaze made her an unforgettable presence in the silent film era. With roles that veered toward danger and allure, she became the embodiment of the femme fatale, captivating audiences with every calculated move. Her breakthrough came in Underworld 1927, a masterpiece of the silent gangster genre. As the streetwise mole, Brent delivered a performance that balanced toughness with vulnerability, earning her critical acclaim. In The Last Command 1928, she achieved something even more remarkable. She conveyed layers of emotion without a single spoken word. These roles elevated her status, marking her as a key figure in cinema's formative years. Yet when sound entered the scene, Brent's career faltered. The industry's relentless drive for novelty left little room for those who had defined its early days. She transitioned to smaller roles, her star dimmed but never extinguished. When she passed away in 1975 at the age of 75, the world barely noticed. Still, her contributions endure, etched into the fabric of film history. 25. Constance Cummings. A name less heralded but no less deserving of remembrance, Constance Cummings was born in Seattle in 1910. A woman of immense talent who bridged the worlds of Hollywood and British cinema with grace. Her early roles in films like American Madness 1932 showcased a rare ability to balance strength and vulnerability, earning her critical praise. Disillusioned with Hollywood's studio system, she left for the United Kingdom in the late 1930s. There, she found the creative freedom she craved. Her crowning achievement came in Blithe Spirit 1945, where her comedic timing and refined poise breathed life into Noel Coward's sharp-witted play. As Ruth Condamine, she demonstrated a versatility that few could rival. Though she continued acting for decades, she never sought the spotlight, choosing instead a life of quiet fulfillment. When she passed away in 2005 at the age of 95, her departure was as understated as her career. Yet her work remains a testament to her artistry, a bridge between two cinematic worlds. Does her quiet legacy call to us, urging a rediscovery of her genius? Or will her contributions fade into the shadows of history, waiting for their moment to resurface?